Next, let's queer up the USA view. Will zombie laws be used to strip LGBTQ plus rights, including marriage? In 2015, the Supreme Court's landmark ruling in Obergefell v. Hodges secured the right to marry for same-sex couples, marking a significant milestone in LGBTQ plus rights. Similarly, the pivotal decision in Lawrence v. Texas decriminalized gay sex, further advancing equality and justice. This week, the Arizona Supreme Court approved the enforcement of an old law banning nearly all abortions, with no exceptions for rape or incest, and only allowing procedures when the mother's life is at risk. Dating back to 1864, the law threatens prosecution for doctors performing abortions, overturning a previous exemption for abortions up to 15 weeks. While the law was blocked by Roe v. Wade's nationwide decision in 1973, its enforcement was reinstated following the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022, leaving Arizona subject to strict abortion restrictions. In almost every state, so-called zombie laws persist. Though never repealed, these outdated statutes were either invalidated or overshadowed by newer laws or court rulings. Just as Roe v. Wade struck down abortion bans, Obergefell v. Hodges secured nationwide same-sex marriage equality. However, future reversals of such landmark LGBTQ plus rights decisions could resurrect these zombie laws, potentially worsening conditions for LGBTQ plus individuals in certain states. For example, if the Supreme Court uses the same standard they used on Roe and follow Clarence Thomas's arguments of sending it back to the states, marriage would become illegal in Florida because of a zombie law. And this is exactly what the LGBTQ plus fears would happen if the hatred towards the community continues. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to Arizona for making Florida look good for a change. Thanks, AZ.
Good job.
Second, it's fitting that Clarence Thomas, who bears a striking resemblance to a zombie, would be evil enough to invoke such a law.
Wow. My only question is, can a zombie conduct an abortion?
Well, I also have a question, because the state of Florida, our courts validated gay marriage in Florida before the national
For the ruling, yeah.
for the ruling. So, I mean, it mentions that if that Supreme Court ruling or whatever was overturned, we have a Florida state court that already granted these are our Equality Florida and the NCLR, our friends Todd and Jeff Del May, and some other folks were the first people that got married in Florida.
Yes, my reverend and his husband were one of the
exactly
whatever it was.
Yeah. And so that happened in the courts in the state of Florida.
Okay.
So I'm not certain that it would automatically be overturned, because the courts already said in Florida that.
But we worried, Cindy. But we still worried.
Well, that's
okay. Like I
15 states.
You know, I've got a lawyer friend who has said that. Who has said that because that was put in place, we would just be grandfathered in, kind of deal, blah blah. But I mean, you know, do we trust the world that we're in right now? Anything could change at any time.
And if we're grandfathered in, does that prevent future marriages from
and that's what I mean. Yeah, great that we're grandfathered in, but how about, you know, Trini, that there's no chance for Trini to get married, or no chance for Bonnie to get married?
In the state of Florida.
I'll leave it alone.
Okay,
Leave it alone, Bonnie. Wait till the next segment.
That's not the only hindrance, but go ahead.
You know, I mean, that sucks for them.
Absolutely.
It's just any of the states that have, prior to Obergefell, that had kind of like the DOMA thing, which was like the domestic partnership, and you know, any of those laws that were in effect before Obergefell, you know, was the law of the land. All of those will be then triggered back. So then they would immediately become illegal if Obergefell was overturned. And they did. Clarence Thomas did say he wanted to look at that again, and so did the other justice. I don't know I mean, it's something we should keep on our radar. I don't know if it's something for us to be like a little too worried about right now. We have some other fish to fry.
Keeping people
before
alive
there
are much more important.
But I think we're okay for right now.
But I think that every LGBTQ plus person has that in the back of their head, Trini. You know what I mean? And it's something that we've been carrying along since Trump.
I also think
take this ring off my finger.
At any second, you know. I mean, it's just a scary thought.
I also think that we are. Maybe this is my optimism, but that I feel like we're reaching a point where all of that overreach by the government, even the Republicans are like, wait a second, because even Carrie Lake with the abortion in Arizona, she's like, I'm not really on board with that. That's too far. And I think that the pendulum is swinging back in the other direction of like, get out of our lives, get out of our, and let's actually be Republicans again, because that's the Republican, you know, way we should be.